Argo to Capitol Hill. No, you're not seeing a movie clip here. Actor, director, writer Ben Affleck, he on Capitol Hill talking to lawmakers about the violence in the Congo. And reports are he was, I guess, kind of taken seriously. At the same time, actor Seth Rogen was talking about having the munchies. No, Alzheimer's. It's a cause that is very close to him. He was also reportedly well received, though he complained on Twitter about low turnout by the members of the committee. Celebrities testifying to Congress, this is not a new thing. Sometimes they go well, other times it's like a Muppet show, like when Elmo, yes Elmo, talked about music in schools in 2002. I'm not making this up. But wait, there's more. Stephen Colbert, he was called in 2010 to talk about migrant workers and immigration. It's their fault, they called him in, and he did so, and he did it in character.
Congresswoman Lofgren asked me to share my vast experience spending one day as a migrant farm worker. I am happy to use my celebrity to draw attention to this important, complicated issue, and I certainly hope that my star power can bump this hearing all the way up to C-SPAN 1.
You had Richard Simmons back in 2008, yes. Richard Simmons talking about obesity.
You know, as a child, we teach our children through music the alphabets, the numbers, and a lot of things about life. And then at a certain age, the music stops and everything becomes academic.
For a minute, I was wondering if there'd be the sequin tank top, but thank God. Okay, Woody Allen of all people. Yes, Woody Allen in '87 was talking about the colorization of black and white films.
If the directors could have their way, they would not let any tampering with their film exist whatsoever. They would not let it be broken up for commercials or shortened or panned and scanned or colorized, certainly. The problem is that they haven't been able to do it.
Okay, so for some of these congressmen, they have their authorities on a particular subject, like the niche, whether it was Allen at the time talking about film or whatever else. But sometimes it's a pet project, a vanity play for these guys, and they come off, and if they don't embarrass themselves, you're wondering, what qualifies this person as an expert? You've been to some of these. Tell the truth here. Do your colleagues just love the additional cameras, or are they saying to themselves, well, I had to kill myself to get in this room, and this clown makes a movie, and now he's an expert?
You know what? When they come, you're kind of intrigued, because it doesn't happen that often. You know, Robert Redford came, and he was very articulate, but he spent years dealing with issues dealing with conservation in the environment. Michael Douglas testified, and frankly, Catherine Zeta-Jones was in the audience, and I positioned myself so that when I looked at him, I could also see her. But, you know, I did pay attention.
Yes,
I can't even remember what the hearing was about.
Right. Hey, Dom, you've seen some of these, right? I mean, the thing that's always interesting is, and Seth Rogen testified about Alzheimer's, and he's got a family member who's going through it and stuff. But it's when they take themselves so seriously, the actors, that they really believe that they know everything just because they played a role or something, and that's when it gets scary.
Well, note to Hollywood, celebrity, whatever you might be, you're not taken seriously. You may have some experience with the issue. It highlights the issue. And from a news point of view, if we've got 10 hearings, the possibility of covering for the day, we see a celebrity is going to be at one, we'll bring the camera there. But that's about it
And
at the end of the day.
That's important. I mean, I had 20 hearings on the terrorist threat before September 11th. I never, hardly ever had anybody show up.
But would we be even talking about an Alzheimer's hearing today if Seth Rogen didn't appear?
That's
a fair point.
Right? He's on Twitter. He has a zillion followers. Probably none of them are avid New York Times and Wall Street Journal readers. So it gets the news. It gets what's happening, you know, out there to a larger audience, a different audience.
It has
a purpose.
It has a purpose. But let's say, Jonathan, one of your clients, you got a candidate who's running, and he's got a friend in the entertainment business. But there's an edge to the comic or to the actor or whatever else. It's a calculated risk, isn't it? That you want the person to feel that they're a part and you want them to endorse, but once they start talking, you don't know what's going to come out of their mouth, and there's a danger of ego here that they can do more harm than good, right?
Yeah, but I mean, a political campaign is a little different than a congressional hearing. You know, one's more official and one's like, you know, to the candidate, it's life and death, life or death. So there's a difference. I think there's a difference. But you're absolutely right. I mean, you try. We as people, as consultants, we try to coach surrogates as much as possible to stay on message and to stick to the talking points and just the talking points. You know, sometimes it happens and sometimes it don't, and you know, you hear from it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, next up, everybody knows politicians love camera time. Just look at the man in the pretty blue sweater here. But not all should. Now, take this guy. This is a state senator in Arizona. State senator, not a U.S. senator. But he's also thinking about running for governor. And he gets shellacked by CNN's Anderson Cooper, obviously on the issue of the week that happens to be in his home state.
Can you give me a specific example of someone in Arizona who's been forced to do something against their religious belief or successfully sued because of their faith?
Again, I think if anything, this bill is preemptive to protect priests.
You can't give me one example of this actually happening.
No, I can't.
Trust me, it got worse. And I'm curious, do people that come to you and they say, you know, Chris, I'm thinking about running or whatever else, they don't appreciate what it's like when the hot lights come on and they're doing interviews, right?
I learned a great lesson. I was a state rep, and I was able to make mistakes when no one was paying attention. And then all of a sudden I'm a member of Congress, and I was talking about something that was innocuous, and it became national news. And it wasn't that I had made myself foolish, but I thought, my God, who cares? And all of a sudden, I had friends calling him up all over the country saying, I saw you on TV. So there is a benefit in starting, you know, on the local and the state, and then you get a little more experience and you're a little more articulate and you know what to say and what not to say.
But Richard, that example is a little unfair in my opinion, because one, if you're being interviewed by a news reporter, you don't always directly answer. If you're smart, the good politicians don't directly answer the questions all the time, because I'll be honest, will lead you off a cliff. I mean, it's that simple. And remember Bill Clinton. Remember Bill Clinton.
He did end up answering the question.
Right,
yeah, it
right.
wasn't
But
good.
remember Bill
Wasn't a good
Clinton.
answer.
Remember Bill Clinton, who's gone down as one of our best politicians. Remember he gave that speech at the convention where he went on for like 8 hours and he was the laughing stock of America? So, I mean, you know, people grow.
But my point is, you know, and I've seen you inhale people, okay? Not literally.
Inhale?
Bill Clinton. But no, but my point is, there are some people who just aren't ready.
Yes,
and
that's
then,
true.
And
that's
then
true.
there are, we know, when we put out asks on a subject, a lot of people can stay away from it because it's a no-win. That was a no-win to defend Arizona's law, right? But he took the bait when others must have said no before they went to some state senator, okay? So my point is, you know there's some people who take certain issues because they want to get on TV and they have no idea what they're getting into, right?
This is true. But I mean, but he had to know, being interviewed by Anderson Cooper on this issue, it was a no-win situation going in. I mean,
Yeah, listen, we live in an era of 15 minutes of fame. This guy's running for higher office. He thinks this is a way for me to get my name out. Anderson Cooper's got 3.5 million viewers a night. This is great, guys. Let's do it.
There's no such thing as bad press. It's publicity.
Yeah,
That's bad press.
true.
And what's he going to
That's
say?
true.
This was a little media attack on him that made him look like a fool. I mean,
And raise money off of it.
right, exactly.
To what the congressman was saying, there is no minor leagues really anymore. I mean, if you're on a local level or on a state level and you say something stupid enough,
gonna get out there.
it's going to get out there because everything's on camera
You know,
these
and when you
days.
say something smart, it's not going to get on TV.
That's true.
And that's the sad thing. It's the gotcha
But we try
world.
and bury those things. Absolutely.
That's why we keep having you here.
All right. Speaking of something that probably went under the radar a little bit, the president had an important event today in the White House, and it was something that a lot of people have been waiting for him for the last 5 years. It's a new program to help young men of color, and it got very personal today. We're going to show you some of it and talk about the initiative as well. Stay with us.